This is the plaintiff, Kara Collins. She says she was walking her dog, Ralphie, when the defendant's vicious German Shepherd attacked her dog, injuring it something awful. The defendant admitted his dog was vicious, the thing was put away, and she can't understand why the defendant won't reimburse her in full for her dog's injuries. She's suing for $1,140.66, the amount she's due. This is the defendant, Jarman Desadier. He says he paid the vet bill in full and thought everything was well and good until 3 weeks later. The vet calls him up and says he has to pay for follow-up visits, surgery, you name it. It's like the plaintiff was trying to throw the kitchen sink into her dog's injuries, and he's just about had it. He's accused of not going all the way.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff was walking her dog, Ralphie, when the defendant's German Shepherd attacked. But the defendant says he has settled up with the defendant, and now she's asking for the moon. It's the case of what's it all about? Ralphie.
Douglas. Okay, Kara Collins, you are suing Jarman Desadier.
Correct.
For $1,140.66. The remainder of some vet bills that he is refusing to pay. What happened?
I was walking my dog. This was back in January. We have a little wiener dog, Ralphie. My 6-year-old and I were walking him, and we were kind of approaching in our complex what they call the dog park, which is like a fenced area where the dog owners can come and take their dogs off the leash and let them kind of run around and play. So we're kind of approaching that area, and kind of out of nowhere, I heard somebody yell, and all of a sudden there's this German Shepherd, huge, like running full speed at us. He came up and grabbed the back of my dog before I even knew what was happening.
And this is outside of the dog park.
This is outside of the dog park. We hadn't even gotten to.
How close are you to the dog park? 10 feet?
20 yards.
20 yards. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so the German Shepherd had Ralphie in his mouth, and he was kind of facing me. So I had Ralph on the leash, and I'm pulling, and the dog is pulling, and he's kind of in the air. And my daughter's screaming because she's thinking, your daughter? She's 6. She's screaming in the parking lot that her dog is dying and very upset. I'm yelling. He's yelling. He's trying to get his dog, to back off. The whole thing seemed like it took forever, but it probably was like
hours.
It probably was like a minute or two.
Right.
He was yelling at his dog.
It probably wasn't even that long.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's just interminable. And in front of your 6-year-old. She won't soon get over that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So he was kind of trying to yell at his dog to get him back.
Do you try separating?
I went to touch his dog like this, and he actually told me, "Don't touch my dog, he will bite you."
Oh, God.
So at that point, I knew we were in trouble, and I also looked. He still didn't have his dog on a leash at this point. He was holding the leash in his hand, but it wasn't connected. Right. So I'm yelling at him to, put your dog on the leash, because I thought, well, if he drops the dog, what if he goes for my daughter? I mean, I don't know. So he clicks the leash back on. At some point with the struggle, his dog lets go. My dog
yelling too, let go.
Oh yeah. We're all like yelling, and there's chaos. So at some point the dog just lets go, and Ralph's now on the ground, and he walks away like he's in total shock.
Who walks away?
My dog.
Okay.
He's on the leash, and he gets to the ground, and he just starts walking like he's going to walk home. He's got big chunks of meat out of him. He's bleeding. I'm screaming. My daughter's still screaming. I go to pick up the dog, and he's so freaked out that he's biting me. So I have blood all over. Anyways, we make it to our apartment, and I get the kennel out of the house because I know we have to tuck the dog to the vet. In the meantime, Mr. Desadier said, I'll come right there. What apartment are you in? He pulls up with his girlfriend in his car. We get in, my daughter.
Why didn't you go in your own? Or do you
No, we went in our car. My daughter and myself and Ralph were in our car, and he and his girlfriend were in their vehicle.
Okay.
He said, follow me to the vet. I said, okay, great. So they took the dog in right away, started taking care of him or whatever. And then we kind of waited. And then eventually the 4 of us went into an exam room.
Who's the 4 of us? Your daughter, your 6-year-old?
Mm-hmm. And myself and Mr. Desadier and his girlfriend. So we're all in the room and they're telling us, we're going to put him
What are
under.
people saying to each other? Isn't it like tense?
My daughter was crying and they were kind of quiet. I mean, they obviously felt really bad.
Right.
They didn't say a whole lot. I did ask him at one point if his dog, had done this before, to which he said, not like this.
Right.
So the vet comes in and she kind of explains what she's going to do and hopefully he'll be okay. And they're going to put him under anesthesia. And she said...
They have to stitch your dog up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So does the subject of the bill come up?
Yes, that happened next.
He paid the bill.
Yes, the veterinarian or her text said, who's responsible for the bill? Because we had told her what had happened.
Right.
And immediately he said, I'm responsible. This
Okay.
is my fault.
All right. What happened?
Okay. I'll dispute some of the facts. When I was coming out of the dog park, I just walked out of it. It was the middle of the day. I didn't see her initially. She had her dog on one of those long, retractable leashes. So her dog was probably, 5-10 feet away from her. I saw the dog initially.
Was your dog on a leash?
He was not. I was in the process of putting a leash on him. He saw the dog coming towards us. He took off. I started yelling after him and running after him. My dog jumped on her dog. I tackled him, but I rolled off when I tried to tackle him. So when I jumped up, the reason why I didn't click the leash on him, because the leash was around my neck. I had him by his collar, trying to get him to get off the dog. I wasn't thinking, put the leash on him.
Well, the time when you should have been thinking was inside the dog park before letting him out.
True.
You should have had a leash on him, right?
True.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in school full time.
What kind of school?
Legal studies.
Legal? Are you in law school or are you in college?
I'm in law school.
You're in law school.
I am.
Okay. So did you really, do you need some schooling or you know what the law is on this, right?
I know what the law is on this.
Right. You probably knew before even looking it up because it would make sense, right?
I did.
Because it does make sense. You're supposed to have them within your control, even some owners might have a dog on a leash and not have them within their control.
Right.
And usually the proof is in what ends up happening.
Right.
Now you acted like a complete gentleman. You were there. You not only were there, you gave her a ride. You said, I'm responsible. You totally manned up. It was awesome. What went wrong? Why are we here? What happened next?
So is the dog owner where the dog is not on the leash, is that the owner that's responsible for the attack? Period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
definitely.
Why?
Oh, because the dog has to be on a leash.
That's the law.
That's the law.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
He needed more surgery.
He needed more surgery?
He needed more surgery. He wasn't healing up. So when he had the second surgery scheduled, the veterinarian's office called Mr. DeSadier. He said he was not going to pay the charges.
Okay, so now I need everything from your vet that pertains to past January 23rd. And did your vet write anything out about having talked to Mr. DeSadier?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me see all that. Now you get a call from the vet
Right.
rather than from them.
Right. On the day of the surgery, right before surgery happened, saying that Ralphie needs additional surgery. It's okay to run your cards for another $1,000, whatever it was.
Was it another $1,000? Yeah, it was another $1,100.
Right.
Okay, out of curiosity, once you learned that there was additional surgery, if he had been such a gentleman with you folks, then why didn't you folks pick up the phone and call him and give him a heads up and explain everything? And why didn't that happen?
Did
you ever? When he said
yes.
I won't pay it, did you ever call?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what
Actually,
happened there? Tell me about that.
The morning, if I may just back up half a second, the morning of the surgery, my husband was actually taking the dog
in between the time the vet called him and the surgery, how much time passed?
A day.
Okay,
probably.
and so the morning of the surgery.
And then that morning, I saw him out walking his dog, and I told him that Ralph was going in for some more surgery.
Right.
And he said, oh, okay.
And you didn't know about how the vet call had gone.
And I didn't know at that point if,
Now, when you two saw each other, had the vet call already happened?
The vet called me the night before. And when she said...
Okay, so why didn't you just say, lady, I'm not paying for any more surgery?
When she said the vet called, I said, I know, I spoke with them. I didn't say, oh, okay.
Okay, so what is your defense? Tell me your defense.
Well, my defense is I'm not...
Other than she didn't show good manners.
Well, she didn't show good manners, but also...
Okay, that's nice, but that's not, as we both know, that's not a legal defense.
I know it's not legal defense.
We do both know that, right?
We do both know
Okay,
that, yes. My defense is that the day that it happened, when the vet was explaining what was going to happen after that, the vet made very clear that the dog's recovery was critical that home care the dog received in terms of their recovery. And I don't know during those 2.5 weeks what they were doing.
Do you have any
at home.
evidence that they somehow negligently treated the dog?
No, I don't.
Okay. Did you ever ask the vet that? Did they let
did
the
not.
dog's wounds vet fast? They're bringing the dog in every couple of days. I mean, that's part of what's bringing up the cost is that they're taking a lot of very good care of the dog, right?
They did, but when the dog was initially
So when the vet explained to you that this stuff was proximately caused by your dog bite, you have gone over proximate cause, right? Causation?
The vet never explained
Tell me
that to me,
about,
though.
no, not vet, your law school teacher explained causation, right?
Yes.
Cause and effect, right? I knocked this pen over, and things happen. That's because I knocked it over. Things wouldn't happen if your dog is off a leash and your dog shows an aggressive tendency, and then your dog ends up biting their dog. Things that happen later, like the wounds don't heal, that's caused by the bite, right?
Correct.
And it's foreseeable, right?
Correct.
And you understand those concepts,
I do.
right? All right, so what's your defense?
Negligence.
Your defense is, I'd like to get out of here, Judge.
Negligence is like
They're negligent, whatever, it's okay. So they're negligent. So they contributed to it. So, because you would certainly not, if in the interim, somebody does an intervening thing, like negligently cares for the dog's wounds, then you wouldn't be responsible for that, right? Okay, show me your evidence that they did that.
I have no evidence of that.
Oh, that's what we call speculation. In court and out of court, we call that speculation. All right. Now, among what you're suing for is lost wages to 8-hour days at $14.20 an hour.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you work?
Yes.
And you get paid $14.20 an hour?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
I'm a medical assistant.
Okay, do you have proof from your employer that you didn't work and were docked that pay?
I do not.
Okay, we'll call that no. And so the surgery bill itself is $913.46?
Yes, ma'am.
What about additional medicines or anything else?
Everything was all included.
All included in the 900. No, okay. Therefore, I find in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $913.46. Okay. Good luck, folks.
All right, so the defendant's out here on the losing end of this decision in the People's Court. What's going through your mind here as you come out?
I don't think justice was done. I
Why not?
I don't think I was responsible
You did step
for that
up.
bill.
You
I
stepped
did
up.
step up. I did my
But
my
what
due
about the
part.
judges? You're going to be a lawyer. What about the judge's explanation about that pen and all the consequences?
I understand about proximate cause, but I feel like there should be a cap somewhere. And I feel like just unlimited repairs.
Why? Do you think they tried to abuse that?
To a certain extent. To a certain extent, I do.
They're just heaping it on. All right. What happened to the dog, Capone?
I ended up having to put him down.
You did? Sorry. All right, head right around the corner there. All right, so come on. How's your dog doing?
He's doing good. He's pretty scarred, but he's making a recovery.
What was that moment like when, at that moment when it was all hitting the fan?
It was terrible. I felt mostly bad for my daughter. I mean, it was a new dog. It's our first dog, and she was pretty traumatized.
Yeah. Did she get over it?
She's still afraid of large dogs, but she'll be okay.
All right. Let's go to Harvey.
Fact is, the person who's liable have to pay vet bills, and it may far exceed the value of the dog.